initiate, you can transform Satan into an angel of light. And essentially, this guardian of the knowledge becomes the initiator into the knowledge, where you can learn to draw out these, sometimes disturbing things, especially because now that you've experienced more of life, like a lot of these things that are in there, in the shadow, are from when you're a child, and you didn't have the mental and emotional faculties to process the experience at the time, and so it gets suppressed as a trauma, as a complex in the mind, and it gets bundled into this shadow. And if we can start to develop a relationship with our shadow where it's actually allowing things out here and there, you can look at the like Orpheus is one of the myths. There's all kinds of these myths of people going in and drawing things out from the underworld. Odin was a light bringer who went into the underworld and came back with the knowledge of the runes from the land of the dead. And so you can kind of transform this guardian into an initiator, into a light bringer. And so that's why I kind of think of, in a kind of a Gnostic Luciferian way of using terminology or using mythological terms, Satan is kind of the guardian and Lucifer is the initiator, but it's two functions of the same entity. So for the non-initiate, it's Satan, but for the initiate, it's Lucifer, in that way of looking at things. So for Luciferian magic itself, there's two basic branches of magic in general, and those would be thaumaturgy, or practical magic, and that's basically making change occur in the universe to conform with your will. And the other branch would be theurgy, or yoga, or spiritual development, whatever kind of term you use. But basically, it's not about practical magic. It's not about making a change in the world. It's more about learning something about yourself and about the world around you. And so for Luciferian, practical magic is just simply whatever works. So I find that most Luciferians, you could really call most Luciferians a type of chaos magician. If you're familiar with the term chaos magic, it's basically a meta system where you can look at all of these different languages of myth and symbol, and you can just pick one and work it for the unique qualities that it provides, and then you can move on to another, and you don't feel like you have to be tied down to any one of the specific ones. If it works, do it. It's essentially what chaos magicians say. And if it's not working, then try something else. So I think part of this is also because Luciferianism is not a large organized movement, and so people have to define it for themselves. So they come to it with their own learnings, or they go off and however they feel they're inspired to. So that's another reason why. As far as spiritual or religious type practice, a lot of traditional methods are used also in Luciferianism, but they're more geared toward left-hand path type principles. So even among the right-hand path Luciferians, they tend to take it more. They're inspired by what we call left-hand path philosophy by a lot. So it's not so much worshiping, for example. Luciferians typically don't worship Lucifer. And the same can be said with most Satanists, although there are traditional Satanists or theistic Satanists that do worship Lucifer, or do worship Satan or Lucifer. Some people who call themselves Satanists do worship Lucifer. But most people who call themselves Luciferian do not worship Lucifer. They see Lucifer as more of a title that they are trying to earn for themselves, an inspiration, or if they see it as an external entity, also appreciation because of what the force in the world, the Luciferian force in the world has accomplished, and how it's touched them in their lives, and where it's brought them. So, there can be devotional type work done in Luciferianism, but it's not worship of anything else, because it's like you are supposed to worship what you are, the uniqueness of yourself, and try and exalt that and extend it. And yeah, that's basically it. Are there any questions?
So I'm curious, where do you think the souls come from, and where do souls go in terms of Luciferians' belief?
It's such a wide range of differing opinions on that within the Luciferian community, or among self-described Luciferians. But personally, I feel that souls, now that's different from spirit. So I kind of like the tripartite division of everything, and to basically body, soul, and spirit. So you could also say ego and superego too. So there's the body, and then there's the soul is the personality, and that's the part that makes you unique. Because everybody's body, basically, you don't get to choose what genes you have. You're just born with it, right? And everybody's is basically pretty much the same. Of course, we all have our unique attributes, but we all have a basic blueprint that we all kind of conform to. So it's not really unique in itself. You can do things, but the real unique part is the soul part. The spirit part is more, I see it more as just kind of the life force. It's pure, and everybody shares the same spirit. All spirit and everything is the same. It's just a pure, incorruptible life force that exists, that vitalizes us all. So soul is really the core of who you are, and as an individual. And this is what right-hand pathers give up. But where it comes from, you inherit a lot of it from the people who raise you, your environment, even from the genetic memory of your body. Like the unique parts of the body get put into that, and also just the decisions you make in life and where you decide to take your own life. You pick up pieces, I feel. I don't feel that the soul is one kind of unified substance or whatever. I think that we each have just fragments that we just pick up along the way, or discard even sometimes. And I think that we copy parts of our souls onto each other all the time. Like if you read a book, that's a kind of a crystallized piece of somebody's soul that they've kind of expressed and put into a way that you can absorb, copy onto yourself, and add into your soul. And I think that in alchemy they talk about as above, so below, and as below, so above. And the way that I interpret that is that something that occurs on one level of existence can inform what happens on another level of existence. So, say when your body stops working, it dies, and the bonds between the different components that make up your body start to break down, and there's dispersion, right?